Hi Angie, it's Chris. This is really late. It's Wednesday, December 4th, and this has been sitting on my kitchen counter for about 3 weeks. So, I'm gonna open it now and do it. Alright, let's see what we got here. You've been nailed an envelope. Inside is these directions in a sealed envelope. I'm just reading this red paper here, by the way. I haven't opened the envelope yet. Verbalize everything. Oh, I'm a thinker. It's not fun. Okay, so I thought I couldn't open that other one, so here we go again. If I can get it open. Okay, page 1. I don't know what I think about that. Okay, segment number 1. You are a freelance interpreter who has just accepted an ongoing assignment interpreting for a newly established outpatient mental health clinic. Type of situations includes one-to-one counseling sessions, small group sessions of no more than a dozen participants, and occasional large group sessions. Speaker. All of these sessions will be conducted by therapists who cannot sign. You've been told that typically you will have a colleague working with you for the small and large group sessions, but for the one-to-one sessions, you should work alone. You arrive early. One-to-one session, the therapist happens to meet you in the hallway, and you begin talking. The therapist tells you that patient is called off and mentions him about 30 minutes late. Therapist asks how you become interested in sign language, so you tell your story. Therapist asks you about the residential experience of deaf people and about an article to claim that there is a high level of sexual abuse of students in residential schools for deaf students. Well, first of all, I would ask for the source of that article because I've actually never really heard of that. I mean, I've heard of it happening. I haven't heard that there's a high level of it. So I would want to check the source on that. And then I would pretty much tell them that that's because I have no knowledge of that. So I couldn't really give him much information on that. So that's all I've got to say about it. Segment 2. After response, the reason yes that the deaf patient has a history of child sexual abuse and lives therapy sessions. The deaf person finally arrives and is someone you recognize from the interpreting you've done in the community. The therapist directs the deaf person whose office in the session begins. At the end of the hour, you want the therapist person and ask if he can speak to you in private for a few minutes. I would ask the therapist to wait until the deaf person has left and then we can have our discussion because that's really rude, especially considering that I'm just the interpreter and that, like, I would have nothing to do with the health care, mental care of his patient person. So I don't really know why he would need to speak to me. So I would ask, yeah, that's what I would do. I'd ask him. So. Segment 3. A few weeks later, the deaf person is scheduled to join an ongoing group therapy. The group consists of therapists, plus approximately 12 men who are undergoing court-ordered treatments for sexual abuse of children. The group has been in session for a few months, and it is common for new people to join the group as others leave it. You arranged for a colleague to interpret with you since you suspect more demanding one-on-one conflicts. About 30 minutes. A page. Okay. First of all, who has a pager? She has suffered only minor injuries. They have not been able to locate her place. I would just suck it up and interpret it by myself. And if in the course of this counseling session the colleague is able to make it, great. If not, oh well, suck it up, because that deaf person needs to have equal access, and it would be unfair to either not provide interpreting just because there's no backup, or it would be unfair to tell him, I can't be here, you're on your own, or, he may want to leave. He or she. So, segment 4. You decide that you really have no other viable option than to explain the situation to the therapist and let him determine whether or not to proceed under the circumstances. He tells you that this is a critical juncture in the deaf person's therapeutic program and insists that the session go on as scheduled. During the session, you struggle with particularly some of the graphic fantasies to describe a couple of members of the group. Nevertheless, you leave the session feeling that apart from your own uneasiness during the session alone, you feel that sexually. However, you may realize that this ongoing assignment is beginning to affect you emotionally. You're definitely not looking forward to the group session next week, especially. Well, I can kind of relate to this. I've had some experiences in the past. That's not important. But I can empathize, and I probably would do my best to find a replacement interpreter if I was feeling uncomfortable being put in that situation, and having to interpret for others' experiences, whatever they are. And if I'm not comfortable, then that's unfair to myself. So I would try to find a replacement. Segment 5. A few days later, boy belonged to the Cub Scout. It's County Camp Bree. On a pro bono basis. So when you arrived, there were approximately 50 Cub Scouts and their parents once and fathers. Counseling session. You remember him quite clearly because of his graphic descriptions. Oh, this is just getting weird. Well, first of all, is this man a father of one of the boys there? Or is he just randomly there? It doesn't specify. I mean, legally, I can't say anything to him or the Cub Den Master. I don't know what they're called. But the leaders of the Cub Scouts, the adults, I legally am not allowed to say anything, so I really can't. The best thing I can do is just avoid him. Segment 6. Finally, your friend and his son arrive, and after a few minutes, the meeting silently after being done. His fathers begin to volunteer for the various tasks of managers to drive. The leader thanks him and then announces that no more volunteers are needed. First of all, there's a lot of questions involving this. As far as I understand that this man is in the counseling session, and from what I remember, it was just fantasies that he was describing and not actually any physical acts. Am I allowed to go back? I don't know. I want to find out. Sexual abuse. Well, yeah, I guess so. For treatments for sexual abuse of children. So I guess he has had physical acts. That depends. I mean, crap. This is hard. I mean, legally, I wouldn't be allowed to say anything as far as what I know because I had encountered this man while working as an interpreter, while being a paid interpreter. However, for this event, I am working pro bono, but that would still violate the Code of Professional Conduct. Does this man have, a restraining order against children? I would imagine so, especially if he's a registered sex offender. He's not allowed. He shouldn't be there. Period. At the same time, the Cub Scouts should do their homework as far as who they allow to their meetings and who may or may not be registered sex offenders. I wouldn't say anything because legally that's what I am allowed to do. Not say anything. And that feels really crappy saying that. However, this is... I wouldn't say anything. That's it. Thanks for bringing me down. Just kidding. I'll see you later, Angie. Bye.